We have people out there winning hundreds of millions of dollars in the Mega Millions and the Powerball. Good for them. Now, by some crazy chances that any of those winners are out there watching this show right now, congrats. In no way am I gonna hop on YouTube and ask for money. Could we use some donations for great causes? Of course. But you know, it's really just not my style. And that's why we're talking about lottery tickets here today. Some late round guys that are potential lottery picks during your fantasy football drafts. Now, full disclosure, I'm not really a guy that goes out and buys lottery tickets, but when it does come to fantasy football, you better believe I try to find a few guys late that have that huge potential. Now, what do I really consider a fantasy football lottery ticket, you may ask? Well, I'm looking for those players that have a projected ADP higher than 120. That way, even if you play in a 12-team league, we're looking at the double-digit rounds. I'm looking for that high potential payoff with minimal investment. I'm also looking for a really comfortable pair of jeans. So before we dive into all the players in today's video, here's a quick message from today's sponsor.
That's right, Jake. Today we're talking about the perfect jean.
We're taking a walk. I'm taking you with me. And you know what I'm wearing? The perfect jean. They're so breathable. It's like 80 degrees here and I'm outside in black jeans walking. Like, I mean, come on. What other jeans can you do that in? And you know what? Speaking of things that you can't do in other jeans, can your jeans do this? Or how about this? Look, I get it. You're saying, Taylor, I would never do any of that in jeans. And you know what? That's fine. I agree with you. But the fact is you could. Out here doing all this stuff and not once have the boys been crushed or worse. We were asked to leave the park because all the soccer moms kept staring. Here's the jeans.
There's no way your jeans can do all of that. It's time to say your khakis and get the perfect jean 15% off right now using our exclusive code headliners15 at theperfectjean.nyc. All the links are down below in the description. You can find them down there. Once again, that's code headliners15 at theperfectjean.nyc. Let's get back to the video.
Awesome, appreciate you, Taylor, but now is the time where we dive in and try to find a few of those potential fantasy football lottery tickets. And let's start off with Quinton Johnson, wide receiver, Los Angeles Chargers. Now, yes, it's still early in the offseason, but currently 149th overall in the ADP, and the consensus has him as wide receiver 63. That may be a little bit low. Now, had you told me a couple months ago that the Chargers were going to move on from Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Austin Eckler all in the same offseason, I probably would have laughed at that. I would get it from a team that's in the middle of a rebuild. But when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert, you kind of need to provide him with some weapons. And what we saw from Quinton Johnson last season in 2023 wasn't exactly great. He couldn't separate. We knew that coming into the league. He's not some burner wide receiver that's going to rack up 120 receptions. That's why we said he needed to play closer to Mike Evans, score some touchdowns, bring in some of those 50-50 balls. But someone is going to have to catch passes in 2024 for the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, if you look around the interwebs at some NFL mock drafts, a lot of people have the Chargers going offensive lineman at number 5, selecting Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. Not a bad pick whatsoever, but personally, if it's me, there is zero chance that I pass on any one of Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, or Roma Dunze. That's just me, though. They need one of those playmakers in this offense. And while on the surface, that may sound bad for Quinton Johnson, it's really not. Johnson doesn't possess the ability to be the only option in an NFL passing offense. He just can't do it all. Having someone on the other side that commands defensive attention is exactly what Quinton Johnson needs. But with the increase in targets that are coming alone here this year, this dude has to be a lottery ticket. You can grab him super late in drafts. You know he has an above average quarterback. You're getting him at a great price. And if he does pop off in his second year, that's like the definition of a lottery ticket. Next is the running back. It's Zach Moss of now the Cincinnati Bengals. Current ADP, 156th overall, the RB46. And trust me, I am not a Zach Moss truther. If you've been here for any length of time, I'm sure you already know that. But Joe Mixon is gone. He's in Houston, and that is 300 touches that are now up for grabs in this backfield. There is no one else on this roster in Cincinnati with any draft capital to really push for the #1 RB role on this team. That's why they brought in Zach Moss. They did it for a reason. Had they felt comfortable with Chase Brown being the guy and going out there getting 15 plus touches a week, they wouldn't have spent the money that they did on Zach Moss in free agency. No, I don't hate Chase Brown, but he's going to have a limited style role in this offense, and that's fine. That's what we saw last season, and we saw some explosiveness. A few more touches going his way is going to be a good thing. Can he handle 300 plus? Probably not what they want from him. Now, we know that Cincinnati has a high-powered passing game, and that's really going to keep the boxes light. Joe Mixon just last year only saw a stacked box 13.6% of the time. Cincinnati also brought in and added right tackle Trent Brown to the offensive line from New England. That's a huge upgrade. But this one's all about volume as well. Last season, we saw Joe Mixon finish top 10 among all NFL running backs in carries and red zone touches. All of that volume is going to go somewhere, and more than likely, it's going the way of Zach Moss. Now, I do expect his ADP to climb here over the summer, but if he stays anywhere near the double-digit rounds, that's a lottery ticket I'll be buying. All right, on to another second-year wide receiver. It's Michael Wilson of the Arizona Cardinals. ADP, currently 162nd overall, the wide receiver 66 in consensus rankings. And this scenario right here is pretty similar to Quinton Johnson. Michael Wilson didn't get a ton of chances as a rookie. He didn't really flash. But the Cardinals, they've parted ways with Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore, and Zach Ertz. But it's not like the Arizona Cardinals are some NFL juggernaut. They're going to struggle to win games. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot once again because they're probably going to be losing weekly and playing catch up. If you look at the current Arizona Cardinals wide receiver depth chart, the only guys you've probably even heard of on there are Chris Moore, Greg Dortch, hashtag Big Dortch Energy, and Zach Pascal. I mean, come on. That trio of wide receivers is not going to scare any opposing defense. However, everyone and their mother, myself included, expects Arizona to go wide receiver early in the first round and grab either Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors. But once again, that is a good thing for Michael Wilson. We need to have opposing defenses focused elsewhere. Let's give Michael Wilson more chances at one-on-one coverage. Now, while Michael Wilson may not have the overall ceiling of a Quinton Johnson, he could for sure pop off and be a low-end wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3. Sometimes you can win without winning the jackpot when you play the lottery. That's kind of how I view Michael Wilson in 2024. Next wide receiver up is Curtis Samuel of now the Buffalo Bills. Current ADP, 180th overall. Wide receiver 72. And can anyone out there tell me when Curtis Samuel had his best season of his career? Don't cheat. I'll give you a second. Yes, it was 2020 when he was a part of the Carolina Panthers. He had 1,051 total yards and 5 total touchdowns. Had a career high in receiving yards and rushing yards both that season. Now, if you go back and look at the coaching staff in 2020 for the Carolina Panthers, who was their offensive coordinator during that time? It was Joe Brady. Who's the current offensive coordinator in Buffalo? It's Joe Brady. We know Gabe Davis is gone. We also know that Buffalo is one of the best overall offenses in the NFL. Josh Allen hasn't thrown less than 567 pass attempts over the last 4 seasons. Really, the only other player that Curtis Samuel is competing with for targets is Khalil Shakir, who I don't hate, but we already know that Stephon Diggs and Dalton Kincaid, they're going to get theirs. We know the potential for carries out of the backfield is going to be there, and the touchdown upside in this offense in Buffalo, paired with the fact that he's damn near free on draft day, sounds lottery ticket-esque to me. But now it's time to hop on the bus. The Gus Bus, Gus Edwards, now of the Los Angeles Chargers, currently in the ADP at 182nd overall, the RB57. He's coming off a career year last year in Baltimore. He had career highs in carries, rushing yards, touchdowns, receptions, and receiving yards. Then, during free agency, he's moved over to LA and joined the Chargers. Remember, Austin Eckler is gone. He's in Washington. Joshua Kelly, he's a free agent. But Gus was brought over intentionally for this new coaching regime in LA and new head coach Jim Harbaugh. Now, the last time we saw Harbaugh in the NFL, he sure liked that hard-nosed running game. His 4 years that he was in San Francisco, he had a top 10 rushing offense each and every year. Now, that was with Hall of Fame running back Frank Gore, but the commitment to running should still be there once again in LA. Now, no, I'm not sitting here and saying that Gus Edwards is Frank Gore, but at least the scoring opportunities should be there and the commitment to volume, and at this point of the draft, that's exactly what we're looking for. Maybe we see the Los Angeles Chargers go a little bit more defensive, a little bit more run heavy in 2024. That's entirely possible. Now, like we said just a little bit earlier, if the Los Angeles Chargers can go out there and draft a stud wide receiver early and really boost the overall touchdown upside of this offense, we could be seeing a lot of touchdowns once again coming from Gus Edwards. Now, at the time of this recording, there's also rumors going around that the Chargers are looking at J.K. Dobbins. So basically, the Baltimore backfield going over to the Los Angeles Chargers backfield potentially. But does that really worry me? No. It doesn't. J.K. Dobbins, as much as I like him as a player, dude can't stay healthy, he can't stay on the field, and he's coming off yet another major injury. No matter what happens in LA, Gus Edwards is going to remain the guy that has that lottery ticket potential. Which takes us to a tight end, the football kind, of course. How about Jonnu Smith of now the Miami Dolphins? When it comes to ADP, 243rd overall, the tight end 35. There ain't no one out there even thinking about Jonnu Smith, but he is someone that we kind of need to pay a little bit of attention to. Whether it be at the very end of your draft, whether you add him to your watch list and you just see what he does the first couple weeks, he's definitely an intriguing name. But I get that he's not one of the sexiest guys on this list here today. I totally get it. I mean, the guy has never had even 600 yards receiving in a season, but he is coming off a season in which he had a career high in receptions, targets, and receiving yards last year in Atlanta, and we know that Atlanta offense was disgusting. I think we can all sit here and agree that the passing offense in Miami is greater than that of the 2023 passing offense in Atlanta. Plus, we also know that Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, they have a tendency to be banged up a little bit. We even saw Durham Smythe produce at times in this Miami offense just last season. But we also know this offense has kind of lacked one of those big-bodied pass catchers that still has the speed that this offense wants. Until now. Jonnu Smith has averaged over 7 yards after the catch per reception in 5 of the 6 seasons he's been in the NFL. When he gets the ball in his hands, he gets those added yards, and that is like gold in this Miami offense. He's 6'3", 250 pounds, and can absolutely fly. He was made for this offense in Miami. Now, I am not sitting here and saying that Jonnu Smith is going to be some top 3 fantasy football tight end. That's not what I'm saying here. But when we look at his overall season, could he achieve somewhere in the neighborhood of 74 catches for 600 yards and 5 touchdowns? It doesn't sound crazy to me, but if he gets that, he's a top 10 tight end in fantasy that you get at the very end of your draft or off the waiver wire. If this offense were to lose Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle at all, we could be looking at a tight end lottery ticket that you got free on draft day. Which will then bring us to the last guy on our list here today. It's Darnell Mooney of now the Atlanta Falcons. And ADP-wise, 257th overall, wide receiver 99. People aren't talking about Jonnu Smith, but everybody done forgot about Darnell Mooney. And I kind of understand it. A lot of people have been burned by him multiple years, whether it's a lack of production or staying healthy. But I don't know if I want to forget about him here just yet. Now he's in Atlanta with Big Kirk Cousins as his quarterback. And honestly, kind of sounds like a late round lottery ticket option. Over the last 4 years of Darnell Mooney's career, he's only had one season with 100 plus targets. That year, he turned it into 81 catches for 1,055 yards and 4 touchdowns. That year was 2021, and he had 3 different quarterbacks that season. Now, he's never going to be one of those guys that goes out and racks up over 100 receptions. He's a little bit more big play dependent, but he's very big play capable as well. He's got 4.3 speed, he plays in the slot, and he's not a gadget type guy like Rondale Moore. Like we already mentioned, he's been a 1,000-yard receiver in this league before, and now in a brand new offense in Atlanta that's not run by Arthur Smith, he is gonna have a chance. Then on top of all of that, he could be one of your last picks on draft day in 2024. Now, I'm not trying to sit here and overhype the guy. I'm not trying to tell you he needs to be a top 3 or 4 wide receiver on your roster. That is not it. He is a late round lottery ticket with a lot of boom potential in a new offense. In 2024, in the very last round of my draft, maybe even in the first couple weeks of my waiver wire, I'll probably be going full Mooney and grabbing that lottery ticket. But what about you? Who are a few of the players that you're looking at late in fantasy football drafts to kind of be that lottery ticket type of player? I want you to leave those comments down below in the comment section. We'd love to be interactive with our community all year long, and I'm looking forward to seeing what names you throw down below in that comment section. Now, before we get out of here for the day, if you could do me a favor, please hit the like button if you haven't already, and consider subscribing if you're looking to dominate fantasy football in 2024. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for the day. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, and then most importantly, do your part to make the world a better place.